So the Republicans have goofy ideas on how to beat ISIS. They say if you just say the words radical Islamic terrorist, you'll magically win. Or you carpet bomb them and kill their civilians and, according to Trump, kill their families, which are horrific, immoral, and counterproductive. Now, on the other hand, what we're doing now, the establishment idea, and the one that Obama's doing, is that's okay, we just drop thousands of bombs on them, and then we'll win. So far, we've dropped 9,000 bombs on them, and we still haven't won. So that strategy really hasn't worked very well. Now, on the other hand, President Obama is doing some things that I am in favor of. So I want to get to that here. So I've got an easy 4-part strategy to beat ISIS. Now, before I explain this, is it actually easy? Of course not. Would it take a tremendous amount for this to work? Obviously. Are we already doing some of this? I hope to God we are. But this is the strategy that I would ask for if I was the president, and then I want to see how well our team could deliver it. So, number one, spies. Now, obviously, everybody thinks that, well, you think the CIA isn't on it, that they're not trying to infiltrate ISIS? Yeah, I hope so. I'm sure they are. It's not like they're sitting on their hands. I hope to God that's not what they're doing, and I'd be very surprised by that if that's what they were doing. On the other hand, if I was president, I'd say, look, how many spies do you guys have inside Raqqa, which is the capital of ISIS inside Syria? I'd be surprised if it wasn't more than 3. Whatever the number is, I'd say give me 10 times that number or more. That Raqqa should be littered with CIA spies. Oh, Jake, it's easy to say that. How are you going to do that? Well, look, there are 2 ways to do that. One, you have to actually endanger people's lives. So it doesn't come with no cost. We have to keep it real. So if it's our guys, CIA agents on the ground, even if they're not in Raqqa themselves, they're using informants and they're turning people inside of ISIS, they've got to be somewhere in the proximity. Does that mean that they'll have to take some degree of risk? Yes. They're the CIA. They're supposed to take that risk. Would I have them take greater risk? Yes, I would, because it's their job to protect us. And the more spies we have there, the better information we have, the better we can target. So the more civilians we kill, the more the local population turns against us. That is counterproductive. If we can target whether it's our bombing or special forces towards ISIS, well, then we're more efficient, it is more productive, and it is the better way to go. I would want as many spies as humanly possible inside of Raqqa. Now, again, if you're saying, oh, yeah, easy to say. So how are you going to do that? Well, here's how you're going to do it. Money. So you say to people in Raqqa, it's not like we don't know how to do this. It's not like the Israelis don't have an enormous amount of spies within the Palestinian groups. It's not like our allies don't know how to do this. You go in there and you go, okay, you're miserable in Raqqa under ISIS rule. I'll give you a lot of money if you work for us. It's not that complicated. You're not going to get everybody, but will you get enough people to get a lot more information than we have now? Yes. Now, instead of spending billions upon billions of dollars in military hardware that isn't working, if we redirected that money to things that could work, well, the defense contractors would make less money, and so they don't like that, but we would have a better strategy. Point number 2, special forces. Now, again, President Obama is doing this more now. I've been in favor of this for a long time. So, again, it risks our soldiers' lives more, and our troops' lives, but they're special forces for a reason. And I'm not putting them down. I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm putting them on a pedestal in some ways. I don't think that they're invincible. I don't think they can do everything. I don't think it's risk-free. But look, they not only did a great job in getting bin Laden, they did a fantastic job in getting the top terrorist in Somalia. They landed, they picked him up, they didn't even kill him. They picked him up, they got intelligence from him, and they captured him. So can we do that more than we're doing now? Yes, but we'd have to have great information and hence the spies. Number 3 is messaging. So when the State Department or the U.S. government does this, they usually bungle it because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They come in there and they go, wouldn't it be great not to be a radical Muslim? Let us be peaceful Muslims. Like, dude, let's pick up your game, right? So if you say, hey, this is Cenk, that's not right, that's propaganda. Yeah, it is propaganda. Am I willing to do propaganda against ISIS? Yes. So if you want to have moral compunctions about that, go ahead and have moral compunctions. But I'm trying to, 1, win, 2, save as many civilian lives as possible. We want the civilians on our side, not on their side. So is messaging the better way to do that? Hell yes. So first of all, print out peaceful parts of the Quran or parts of the Quran that ISIS is violating. That's much more important. And put it all over Raqqa. If the CIA can't do that, what can they do, right? Say, and ask the question, why is ISIS not following the Quran? And put a Quranic verse. How many Quranic verses is ISIS not following? Forget just the peaceful ones. They're incredible hypocrites. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, their leader, gave a sermon, and one time he was in public, he had an incredibly expensive watch on. It looked like a Rolex or something. Put that picture up. Hey, why is your leader got so much bling? Is he in it for the money? Well, first of all, we ask that question. We do a better job than the U.S. government does. Then we ask a question, hey, why did Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi marry one of his fighters' wives after he died? You know that's true. That's his second wife. And, hey, fighters of ISIS, is he going to marry your wife next after he sends you on a suicide mission? By the way, is that possible? It's totally possible. So you better watch your back. If Abu Bakr sends you into a very important mission, tell your wife, hide the wife, hide the kids. Abu Bakr's coming. So you create dissension. Come on. If they're doing it very poorly because there doesn't seem to be any evidence of that on the ground in terms of the CIA. You go on and on. You say he's not a real Muslim. You say he's CIA. You say he's Israeli. You say he's from New Zealand. Say whatever you got to say to have people go, wait, is he? Wait, why are we following this guy? Wait, is he going to have sex with my wife if I die? Wait, why isn't he following that verse in the Quran? Wait, why does he have a Rolex on? Who is this guy? Is he an American? Is he a plant? Let's go! Messaging. It's not like, we will win hearts and minds. Hey, Syrians, America is better than ISIS. Oh, God. All right. No. Let's get dirty, okay? But not in a stupid way where you carpet bomb people, kill them, and have their families hate you forever and fight you forever. Okay, finally, this is an idea unique to me. So it's going to be great. White helicopters. Now, what in the world does white helicopters mean? I know it's off the wall. But listen, the strategy we have is not working. So let's try something different. So here's my idea on white helicopters, and they don't actually have to be white. Okay. Whenever American planes are coming now, especially drones, in the Middle East, we've scared the hell out of people. So they go to hiding and they're like, oh no, watch out, here come the Americans. Like that's a bad thing. Cover the story. Brave New Films did this amazing project where they went to Pakistan, where in northern Pakistan we've been dropping a lot of drones and killing people, unfortunately a lot of them civilians. They talked to this 6-year-old boy. Whenever he hears any plane in the sky, he runs out of his house and hides in a tree because that's how one of his family members had gotten killed. Scared the hell out of him, and he's scarred for life. Now, could you imagine if American helicopters actually meant something good instead of something bad for the locals that are not on ISIS's side? If every once in a while a white helicopter came in, went into a family, I know it will seem outlandish to people, but you could do 1,000 different versions of this. But let's go with my crazy version. Landed in somebody's backyard and said, would you like to come to America? And they're like, what do you mean? That's crazy. We live here. I know, but ISIS has destroyed this city. Are you interested in living in Piscataway, New Jersey? We show them a picture. My guess is a lot of times you'll get an answer of, yeah. Can I bring my family? Yes, you can. You pick them up, you bring them there, you put them in a nice house. First of all, Republican heads exploding. You can't be nice to these people. What if they're this and they're that? No, you knuckleheads. Then you show them in a nice house and you drop those pictures all over Raqqa and go, hey, when the white helicopters come, you know what you win? You win the lottery. You don't win the lottery of money, you win the lottery of life. And you go to somewhere beautiful, Piscataway, New Jersey, by the way. A curious choice on my part. Maybe Rumson. Very nice in Rumson. Anyway, you win the lottery of life and America comes to save you. Now, again, you might think that particular idea is goofy, but there's 1,000 different ways that we can help people and save people. Could you imagine if they saw white American ships in the sky and the locals in the Middle East went, yes, America's here to save us. Please come to me. Please come to me. When's the last time that's happened in the Middle East? Not for a long, long time. So why are you doing that? Is it just a random act of kindness? It's so that the locals think, I don't want to be with ISIS. What am I going to die with these maniacs for? Meanwhile, if you go with America, Have you seen the beautiful pictures of Ahmed and now the life that he's living in, whether it's in Berlin or it's in Rumson, New Jersey, or wherever it is? Oh my God, did you see what the Americans gave those guys? I know, look, nothing is simple. And if you leave them there on the ground and they take gifts from America, there will be consequences. I know that. So you got to be smart. You have to have the right strategy, and you have to think of 1,000 ideas before you get to the right particular strategy that's going to give you the right incentives and disincentives. But can we at least try? Can we try different things so that we can have the locals turn against ISIS? Because if the locals are on the side of ISIS, it's going to be much, much harder to beat them. But if the locals turn on them, they'll hand them over. Again, not that simple, but over time, yes, they will give you information. How did we get bin Laden? One of the locals in Pakistan came in and wanted a $25 million reward. And he said, you know where he is? He's in that compound in Abbottabad. The torture didn't work. All that Zero Dark 30 was total horse crap. None of that worked. What worked was, hey, here's some money. Would you like to move to America? Great. We're going to move you to America and give you $25 million. He's in Abbottabad. He's in Abbottabad. Okay? Yeah, that does work. For God's sake, let's have a unique strategy, a different strategy than the one that isn't working. Let's use our heads. If you don't like these ideas, let's at least come up with other ideas that have a chance of working. Young Turks.